Hi, my name is Inge and I'm coming to you from Denmark. Today's video is part 2 of my experiences from the knitting festival at Fanø, also called Nordby Wool Days. Oh boy, I'm still all jazzed up from all the experiences there. Everything was just amazing. Wonderful people, wonderful yarn, workshops, lectures, and music. In the end of this episode, you will hear Andrea Flores singing to us. She's living on Fanø, and I was just stunned of her voice. It's so beautiful and clear, and yeah, hear her out. And she was singing Eurythmics, reminding me of my teens and how I admired Annie Lennox back in the day. So you would imagine I went back a memory lane when hearing her at the cocktail party. And so the knitting stuff for today and learnings is coming from workshops on knowing your fiber, because hair is not just hair. Knitting needles are not just needles. There are a lot of variables when you want to have knitwear predictable, I would say knitwear. So in this video you will see some tips and tricks on knowing a bit about your fiber. It's a whole new world for me, so it will take a lifetime to know as much as skilled people out there, and I'm just trying in a couple of minutes to convey what I learned in a few moments. And I must say this was really opening my eyes, because when I started knitting, I was touching the yarn and is it soft, then it's fine, and I get started, and I didn't even know which contents or whatever. I didn't know so much. I started introducing knitting in my life again in 2020, probably like many others. So so knitting fibers, knitting tools, gauging tips and tricks depending on your tools and fiber. So that's what will be here in this episode. And I've added in a new section called questions and answers, trying to follow up on the latest videos, because wow, I'm all overwhelmed about your interest for my latest videos, your kind acknowledgments by thumbs up and comments. You wouldn't know how much this means to me and encourages me to go on, and it's so motivating. I'm all new in this YouTubing world, and I try to improve in each video I make, so yeah, it gives me much energy to go on, I must say. So as usual, I've sectioned the video so you can see the timestamps in the description box below, and you can move forward and backwards as you like. And if you want to see some of my other videos, please go to my playlist and you will find them. Yeah, so shouldn't we move onwards and let's get started? I finalized one sweater since the last video, and this is yet another one in this series I call forest sweaters for my grandson. He has recently started in forest kindergarten, and he's outdoors every day, all day long. So he needs a lot of sweaters for the autumn and winter time coming. And I must say, I've been so inspired by tree trunks lately. I don't know why, but now I've made different sweaters actually with different pictures in my head. And I must say that this one is not growing in Denmark. It's from a palm tree. You can see the picture here. And this type of pattern is actually very simple. It's only knit and purl stitches, and it is so kindly provided by Knitting for All is her name on Instagram. I guess she's a Russian woman, and she has so many nice patterns, and you know, you can look up these videos and see how you do the pattern and use it for whatever you want. And this time it's for this sweater, and it's made with simple raglan, so every other sleeve I increase because I start top down. And I want these sweaters in the forest series here to be very simple. So if you are a new knitter just like me, starting in 2020, it will be easy to do. And one of the things when I started in 2020 and wanted to make the first sweater for myself with raglan and a raised neck was that it had a pattern, and when you're going back and forth on the neck and need to do the increases while doing a raglan, no, I'm babbling. When you want to do the pattern while also doing the raglan increases, it gets, for me, it got a bit complicated. I simply, because I'm a visual person, I had to write it down and see it in front of my eyes how to do it. So I was thinking, how can you avoid this for new knitters so that they don't have to think about it? They have one technique at a time and not combining them. So I don't know if you could call it cheating or what, but I simply raised the neck in the ribbing part. So you can see the rib part here in the back side is longer than in the front side. And who notices? I don't think so, or I just think of it as a, yeah, design element perhaps. So you just do your short rows and then you start doing the raglans afterwards. So it would be very simple. And this time, I guess I just found the rhythm with this pattern and forgot that for a 2 or 3 year old child, the yoke, I don't know if it's called yoke when it's a raglan. Could you please help me out, English people and American people? We call it bærestykke in Danish. And in a 2 or 3 year old, it has to be 15 centimeters before you separate for the sleeves, and this one was 17, but I guess it doesn't matter. He can use it when he's 4 years old. I made the sleeves a bit longer to fit the size, the circumference of the sweater. And you can see this is a tapered sleeve, so I just do in decreases evenly in the sleeves. I guess Knitting for All, she calls this pattern diamond. So I was wondering if I should call this the forest diamond, because the diamond in this case is of course my grandson. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm bragging about him all day long and as much as I can. I guess it's a privilege you have as a grandparent. It's okay to brag with your grandchildren. At least that's what they told me at the knitting festival, because more had grandchildren, and yeah, we were equally keen to talk about them. So yeah, you will hear me talk a lot about him, of course. So next to the design being finalized, at least as knit, not as a written pattern yet, is the yarn, because you know, I've been testing this different merino yarns, non-superwash merino yarns, and this one is knitted up in merino, 100% merino wool from Hjertegarn, and it's an absolute joy to knit with. It's very squishy. We talk about the fiber later on. It's very elastic and light and airy. And what happened when I washed it? It grew. So not just did I add perhaps a centimeter or two too much here in the raglan, but it also grew. No problem. I did the trick with adding a bit of elastic here. So you can see in my toolbox I have these elastic threads. I have in black and in white. I don't know if they go in other colors, but these are the basic ones. And I just sew in one, and can you see it? No, I use the black one. So I guess it won't fall down here. And I think it has grown the bit it will grow. So yeah, we will talk about growing and needle sizing and whatnot of merino yarns later on in the video. So this will be all for now with this sweater. Yeah. Do you know your fiber? Before this workshop with Maria from MAMA Garn Uld, I thought I knew a bit, but I must say that I am full of admiration and humility about what you need to know, and how complex this area is, this fiber science and material science, the farming, the breeding, the processing of the fleece and the wool to become the wool that we want. So do we all need to be trained shepherdesses and yarn experts? No, of course not. And that's why I was so amazed by Maria, because she is so knowledgeable and such a good communicator. And she managed to, in these hours, 3 hours, I guess we had, to get us the highlights and communicate in such a way that we could hopefully remember the takeaways and use it for the next time we buy our projects or yarn for projects. So now I will boil her lifetime experience into 3 hours, into 3 minutes or so. Wish me luck. So we got to grab the fleece or the fibers and feel the difference, not just the coarseness or the smoothness. Also, is it greasy or not? Which wools, which animals give the wool lanolin, or which doesn't? And we got 3 samples of the wool that she's selling, 100% natural wool in natural sheep colors from different breeds. We will get back to this later. And she asked us to make different textures of this wool to see how it works, and with different needle sizes. So the Danish sheep breed resembling merino. So we were told to make such a brioche piece, and it's a very, very, very soft and squishy yarn. And this is the one I used for this sweater. It's very squishy. And then we had this a bit more coarse. It's a Fanø also from a Danish breed. In a minute I will take a look at my notes to give you the names of the breeds. I forgot already. And this is the most coarse yarn from a Danish breed of Mars sheep. And this is fairly inelastic. And so when knitting up with these 3, we could see for ourselves the influence of the needle size, the yarn fiber when you want a dense fabric like this weaved one, just a knit and purl piece, and this brioche piece. So hair is not just hair. Fiber is not just fiber. Depending on the sheep breed and the climate or location of the farm, the fiber will, or the fiber and the hair of the sheep will customize to the weather, and hence be either strong and coarse or more fine and soft. So she was comparing to human hair, And I've made these posters, so it's not to pester you with posters all the time, but it's because I myself, when I hear something, I remember it more easily if I can see a picture or something to hook it up on, and then it gets stored in the RAM in my brain. It's so maybe some of you have it the same way. So let's look at the posters, because she compared it to human hair, and she said, yeah, you can have your hair crimped to make small and many curls, and have it permed to have longer but fewer curls. And if you compare this to the hair of the sheep, then the crimped hair is like merino wool. It's small and many curls and very elastic yarn. And the marsh sheep, they have inelastic wool and very strong wool. So these are kind of the most opposite yarns in the span of roughness and softness of 100% wool and elasticity, I would say. So the takeaways are that when you have very elastic yarn, it's preferable that you use as small size needle as you can, because if you use a larger size needle, you will knit looser, and when you knit looser, it's easier to grow when washing and wearing, and it's so elastic that it not necessarily would find its form again when washed. So as small a needle as possible. And this is definitely what I learned from this one. Also, when looking at Drop's homepage, they stated for this new brand, Daisy Non-Superwash, they said, please use as small needles as possible. So whereas I have used size 4mm needles for the other merino wools, or 100% wools, I use 3.5 for this one. So that was the first takeaway. Another sweater of the forest sweater collection for my grandson is on the needles. I started off with this Daisy drops yarn, and I'm so inspired by Tree Trunks lately. I don't know why, but this time you can see the picture beside me, a very twisted tree trunk, and I thought, well, I need this on the sweater. However, I didn't want it too much of a structured look, just maybe a more classic look. So it's four stitches of knit stitches, 1 purl, and then 4 stitches for the twist. And I started out as a tree trunk with a braid of 3 braids, braided together, but I had to give it up because I used 3 stitches for 3 braids, and it didn't look nice. And if I should do it better, then it would be 2 times 3 stitches, and then it would be too broad for a small body and not look nice. So it ended up like this. And looking at it now, I think, well, I could leave it as a vest or a pullover and just make a nice edge here, but I intended this to be a sweater with long sleeves, and I guess it's a very good fall piece. It's it is nice. I'm very curious to see how it turns out when I have washed it, whether or not it grows. So let's move on. Maria also kindly provided some tips and tricks on how to take care of your garments once knitted up. So she talked about the washing of the wool and using wool soap, and the process of wet blocking. And furthermore, she talked about these tedious stains which you can get when you have, yeah, you can get them yourself, of course, but especially with my grandson and children, you get these tedious stains sometimes, which can be hard to remove, you think, because you cannot rub, don't rub wool garments. That's not a good idea. So what to do? And she said, well, you just put the sweater in an airtight plastic bag and put it in the freezer for a couple of days, and then you can just slightly brush off the stain. If it's very tedious and there's some color remnants still there, you can put it in the sun for a couple of hours, and then you will see the stain fade out. So the actually wool is self-caring. And back in the day, from my mom, I taught that this Nordic Norwegian wool, you don't wash it, you just hang it out in the frost or after it's been rainy weather when it's damp, and it is kind of self-generating. So yeah, but you know, nowadays we're used to washing everything, so once in a while we wash it, and I do too. I don't just hang it outside. Sometimes I wash it, especially the garments for my grandson. So if you're interested, you could have a look at the soaps that I'm using, because I started using this Hjertegarn, and I have kind of a, a bowl this size, what do you call it, a basket, and I use only what is inside this top cap here, and I use the one without a scent, at least before some of these wools. But yeah, so very little I use of this one. That's where I started. And then my grandson had some tedious stains sometimes when he has had spaghetti and red potatoes, no, red tomato sauce and so on. And then I saw this lemon soap remover, and I have become quite fond of this, because you wet the clothes or the tip of the soap, and you just add it on and let it sit for a while, and then rinse, and then I put it in the washing basket along with the other garments. And yeah, maybe I remembered to say that you don't have to rinse the clothes. That's another good thing, because 100% natural animal fiber wool doesn't like to get rubbed and agitated too much. Then it gets felted. So once I had the lemon soap, I saw that they also, this web shop carry universal laundry wash soap. And the good thing about it is it's 100% organic, no chemicals, and anti-static, and has a lemon scent, which I like very much. And it's biodegradable, so it's nice. And this is kind of in pellets. I haven't opened it yet. But then I came to think, how come this is different from the ones we use for our all our clothes, actually. So in the supermarket we buy this one, Eco Clean, and it's with the citrus, with essential oils, and it's also yeah, biodegradable, and all the good things I said about this one. And it states here in bold writing that it's without enzymes, phosphonates, and preservatives. So actually no enzymes in this one, so you could equally well use this one and this one. And I would say this one from the supermarket is much more cost conscious than buying this one. But I will try it out and see which one I like the best. But even so, we use this for all our clothes. You know, we live in a family collective, so we use a lot of soap. We have the common washing laundry room. Yeah, enough about soaps. Maybe I should add that my interest in wool soaps with a bit of citrus or, yeah, a fresh scent came after knitting up this one with the absolute wonderful top one preference yarn for the tree trunk sweater. But it has a very natural scent of sheep. It smells like a whole zoo, so I guess it's not washed washed all the scent out. So I guess I will give it a go with lemon wash and see if it gets a bit more natural for the senses. So you're not fainting when wearing it. No, I'm teasing now. It's not that bad, but it is woolly smell. Hello again. Sorry for the sound in the background. It turns out that suddenly our neighbor is here and mowing our lawn. It's so nice of him. I guess our tractor is broken. We have quite a big lawn, so yeah, it's so nice of him. I'm looking out the window and suddenly he was there. Okay, moving on. It's getting a bit darker here, I'm sorry, but I had to do some breaks on the way, so I hope it will suffice with the lighting. The second workshop gave some new takeaways about which needles to use and the surface properties of the needles influencing your gauging. So let's have a look at the next slides. As you can see here, needles are not just needles, just like hair is not just hair, because the friction of the needle will influence the gauging of your project. So the needle with the highest friction are the bamboo needles, and the needles with the lowest friction is the nickel-plated needles. And in between you have the plastic aluminum and then laminated birch wooden needles. So how would you know which needle to use for what? And it actually, now I heard it makes sense, of course. So if you have a very grippy yarn, you need a smooth a needle, because otherwise it's grip by grip and you cannot work. And if you have a very slick yarn, you need a grippy needle. Otherwise you can have issues with unevenness of your stitch definition and so on. So now knowing that, I guess I feel more confident in taking up my project again with the silk dress for my niece, because I used nickel-plated needles, and I will definitely change to wooden needles and start all over. And not just the birch laminated, but I guess I will try some bamboo ones for this project. So that was very nice learnings for me. So you can tell I'm a newbie knitter. I restarted knitting in 2020. Yeah, as I said before, probably. Okay. So now knowing even more about the knitting tools and your knitting needles, I made yet another purchase at the festival. So it's these knitting needles from Prüm. I have no other needles from Prüm, but these ones are made of plastic. So why would I buy plastic needles? Yes, it is to provide a bit more friction to the yarn, and while working with slippery yarns. And slippery yarns in this sense for me would be the plant fiber yarns and the silk yarns. And what I was told and recommended about these needles was also the tips. So when you have, can you see it? When you have, these are a kind of a small knot on the end. And this is good when you have a yarn with more plies. how I take this wool. I could, with plant fiber yarns, there can be 8 and 12 and many plies, and the needle can get stuck within the plies. So with this kind of rounded edge or small knob, it works better. And I have tested them with a small swatch, and it actually works. I didn't think it would be that nice, but it actually is. So next time when I'm knitting up with plant fiber yarns with many plies or silky yarns, I will use these. And I bought a package with the sizes that I most frequently use, and this is 3mm, 3.5 and 4mm needles, which are, I use this nifty piece because here you can easily see what it is in US sizes. So size 4mm is size 6, and what's it? The 3.5 is size 4, and a 3mm is a size, now you can see the double shade, 2.5. Okay. Yeah, maybe not so fast yet. I'm trying to learn my way around the chain, so I know somehow where to look when I gauge. But I must say this is one of the better purchases I've made because I use it very much for my needles. Okay, so now for the Q&A section of the video. This is new to me, but I have been so amazed and happy and thankful of all your appreciation of my video, your thumbs up, and all the hours you've seen my video, and your nice comments. It's been all overwhelming and very motivational and encouraging for me to continue making these videos. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. So let's have some answers to some of the questions, and maybe it's of common interest. If not, you can fast forward, go to the end of the video. I was asked about the pattern of the sock I showed in the last episode from Fanø, made by Jytte and I was asked if this pattern is in English. For now, it's not. I asked Jytte. She's working on it hard, so I will let you know as soon as the pattern will be there in English, so you can knit as well. Then there was this series by Seyfarth, My Pearl by Seyfarth. Oh, it went a bit fast. So it's this gauge for knitting needles and pearls and so on, and I found out that it is now sold in Denmark in a Danish website, and it's called A Knitter's World. You can also find her at Instagram. It's also an interesting entrepreneur woman. She's a trained shepherdess, but due to allergy, being in the farming environment, she had to give up this job and then started a new one, and now she's dyeing her own yarn and giving or having her own yarn in her web shop. So have a look if you like. I will link below. Then I was asked if this pattern I made for my grandson, the tree trunk sweater, will be in adult size. I was so happy for this request, and amazed that somebody would actually like to knit my design. Oh boy, happy. So yeah, it will. And actually my husband liked this so much, so he has actually requested 2. So I will, yes. And I will start making this for him, and I've already ordered yarn, so he will have one in pearl gray, it looks like. light beige and this gray blue. So this will soon be made for adults, and I will start doing the pattern right away. So luckily it's a very simple pattern for new beginners, so we can all do it. And I must add, now that we talk about this sweater, I am so amazed about this yarn because of the properties. I knit this up and wet blocked it, stretched it very much, and it just got back to shape instantly when it was off the blocking needles. So what you see is what you get. Ain't that great? And it's soft, it's warm, it's nice to knit with. It's everything. And this, even though this is merino wool from the highlands, from Andean merino wool, and being so elastic, this is done on 4mm needles. Of course you can go down a needle size or a half, but this works. And the price, because we want to be cost conscious, don't we? And this yarn, the listed price, I'm looking in my note, the listed price is 59 Danish kroners, which means $8.32 US. And right now I found this yarn on a web shop in Norway, Yarn Mania it's called, or Strikkemekka, for 22 kroners per bullet skein. 22 kroners. This is very, 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 very good offer for such a good yarn. And this is 3.1 US dollar, 2.95 euros, and 2.56 English pounds. So I will link the web shop. Have a look if you want to make this. I used only 4 bullet skeins and 10 grams for this sweater. And I've ordered 14 bullet skeins for my husband. He's a size small. I guess this will more than suffice. Let's see. So it's an affordable sweater, I would say. So yes, dearest viewers, I will certainly make this pattern for adults and for children and write it up, and hope that some of you will help me do test knitting so that we can publish this design together. Yeah, the next question. Yeah, I asked for an idea to knit with this new base from Drops Daisy, and one viewer was so kind to give me a good idea of a Danish designer. I didn't know of her existence, but her name is Elizabeth Judith, and she has made this sweater called Knus for kids, Hugs for kids, and it's very nice. You can see the picture here. So thank you very much, Elspeth. I will definitely try this sweater out. It looks gorgeous. And so again, thank you all for taking your time with the comments. I appreciate it very much, and will do my best to answer you, everyone, and take the ones of common interest perhaps here in a Q&A section of the video. I guess by this last session we reached the end of the episode. I guess it was a bit longer than intended because of all the details with the tools and whatnot. I hope you enjoyed it anyway, or skipped the parts that you didn't need. So hopefully I will see you in the next episode. Roger and over from Ingesknittinglab. Color me happy. Bye bye. Most of all
and